I'm Ryan Milton from Team Flex, and today we're going to be looking at pro bikini competition, 5 competitors from the DMS China DMS Pro Bikini, in other words. And we're going to dive through all these competitors, talk about their physiques, talk about their placings, talk about criteria, why those placings may have landed the way they did, and what it means for you as a bikini competitor out there at any level as this 2025 season unfolds. And we got a lot more of that coming. I've also done a lot more of that before, so if you're new here, subscribe, hang out. If you're a repeat viewer, drop me a comment, let me know you're watching. I'll comment you back. I appreciate reading those. All right, here we go. So we have on the screen 3 athletes again from the China DMS Pro. This is Pro Bikini out there in China, showing pretty strong, honestly, as far as their physiques and where things are going. I think it's a really good look coming out of China. Let's talk a bit about it. So this is our class winner here, Bin. This is number 2, whoever placed second, Chao Xian. And then over here we have A Song in 3rd place. So we will review the other 2 momentarily as we go through this. But it's very clear what we have coming out of China for Pro Bikini here is a very consistent look, okay? Very, very consistent with the criteria as far as shoulder shape, muscle fullness, tapering in at the waist, and then that lower body coming out into be symmetrical and match what's going on up top with the glutes, the quads, and the hamstrings. All 3 athletes exemplify this look, but in different ways, and we'll dive a little bit deeper into that. Everybody is pretty on par with their conditioning, right? So conditioning, you want to show those soft lines, those separations, not striations, not deep cuts, not veininess, not graininess, not super lean. And I think overall, this really pulls it together. So Bin here, we can see she's got the good shoulder fullness. This really enhances that upper body shape. It brings through that first bit of your hourglass look. So if you want to be bikini, you need to be focusing on those shoulders, bringing that fullness, bringing that roundness through. Again, very different look than fit model. So again, I know so many people on the cusp of like, oh, should I be fit model? Should I be bikini? If you got shoulders like this or you want them, bikini is your place, okay? Especially since this is a pro level bikini. And as you can see, very narrow waist works to a major effect to sweep that hourglass look in. And the better you can do that, the better you're gonna place on stage as a bikini competitor. When you get to the lower body, everything needs to be in symmetry and harmony. So we should see glutes kind of match the quads, match the hamstrings. We could also say that that matches what's going on up top and the waist. So she really does have totally, nailed this look. This is very good, consistent criteria for bikini look. If we look over here at Chao Xian, what we can see, a lot of shoulder shape going on here, tapers into the waist, lower body muscle does come out and exemplify. For her, to me, it gives me a little bit more of a shoulder forward look, meaning her shoulders look to be a bit big on her physique. A little bit bigger in the shoulders, a little bit more of that muscle size that is, you could start to lean and say maybe it's not 100% symmetrical with the lower body, and I think that's kind of what moves her into second here. Keep in mind, we got to look at the back as we always talk about. For me, she's a little bit shoulder forward though, still great taper into the waist. Conditioning maybe just a tad softer than Bin at this point, but that's again pretty on par with this criteria in this division. Lower body wise does come back out. However, her quads and her hamstrings look a little bit under to me compared to the upper body. So if your symmetry is even just a tad off at the pro level, it makes a big difference. It also makes a clear difference at the amateur level too, when you want to make sure you have those different variables in that balance and that symmetry no matter your event. By the way, if you are somebody out here trying to compete in bikini and you don't know your strong points, you don't know, your weak points, you don't know where you got to bring this up, bring the roundness through, do all this and that, please go do my free 7-day coaching trial. You got your phone next to you, grab it, pick it up, type in teamfflex.com/7-day trial. And I'll talk to you over there. You get to come right into my training platform. You get to train with me free for 7 days. You can, get feedback on your physique, get actual custom-built workouts from me for your goals, for your physique, where you're at, for whatever you want to attain. If you have, confusion about divisions, or you have no idea where to start, or you don't know what your strong point, your weak point is, do you have that symmetry, that balance, or you need help with anything else? That's exactly why you want to go do this, and it's free. No obligation to buy anything. You're not putting card information in. You never get charged. It's just a way I give back to the bodybuilding community. If you like my videos, I do these to help you learn, and I also do the trial to help you learn 100 times better. All right, so check that out. Let's go to the look over here now at A-Song. So A-Song definitely has, a very, very dramatic look. She's got good shoulder shape overall, very narrow waist. It tapers in well, very good hourglass shape overall. I think for her, it's a little bit of an opposite effect from Xiaoxian, where the lower body looks to be almost a tad too dominant, right? So it kind of comes down and tapers in well, and then glutes look very big, quads look very big, hamstrings look very big compared. So it's one of those things where maybe rebalancing that look just a tad, a little more shoulder maybe, or even just bringing the lower body down. But for her, probably not the best goal to bring lower body down, probably just a little bit more shoulder, and that would lock down that look. However, again, very consistent at a pro show, which we'll see in our top 5 pretty consistently. Looking from the back here, okay, so Bin has that shoulder shape come through, tapering at the waist, glutes, upper glute is there, the shape's all there, the overall glute, slight separation between glute hamstring tie, and that's what you want to see. Good symmetry between the quads and the hamstrings to let the glutes kind of take the show from the back. That's really key. Xiaoxian, right? Like I said, very shoulder forward, even in this, and a bit of a different angle here. I'm not exactly sure why, but that definitely is a very shoulder dominant look. It almost gives me like a figure-esque type of a look compared to the lower body. So probably another effect where her lower body's pretty on par, pretty close, a lot of the same shape, a lot of the same size going on, but the upper body just overpowers it to a degree that puts her into that second place. But that's nothing to scoff at a pro event, no doubt. Very, very on par with criteria of physique. Looking at A-Song now. So A-Song was a little bit, dominant from the front in her lower body. From the back, it's a bit better. But interestingly enough, we don't get the same level of depth from the glutes. So maybe, even though they look dominant from the front, might need to bring out the depth actually a little bit more from the back to pull through that tie in a bit, a little bit more fullness in the upper glutes. We don't really see a lot of that here. And it can even look like the quads, etc., may be a little bit overpowering compared to the glute from the back. So everything is always clear when we get to the back pose. I say that time and time again. All right, now looking at our 4th and our 5th, Heather joins the lineup and Yi over here in 5th. All right, so Heather, has a little bit less of that dramatic taper look, not as much of the hourglass. She still has a lot of muscle, but her physique looks a little bit more up and down in my opinion, right? And so we still have the shape, we still have that look overall. Not as dramatic though, clearly compared to Bin, the first place winner here. And, she does overall have a lot more size. So again, we've kind of been seeing the trend at bikini events, even amateur pro, is that the more muscle in bikini and the leaner look is not placing in the top. It's really all about the shape right now. Bikini's pulling back to its roots. She's got a lot of muscle, big lats, bigger shoulders, big traps, very lean, and a lot of muscle in the lower body as well, and placing 4th versus, Bin taking 1st here with less muscle, less condition, more shape. So that's interesting to note and something you want to pay attention to. Yi over here, same type of a deal. She's a bit leaner. She's probably the leanest of our top 5. Still has that good shape, ties in well. Lower body development seems to match. She's probably the leanest of the top 5 though. We start to see this quad coming through a little bit different, stuff like that, where again, maybe the leaner looks not placing in the top, but we didn't get to the back yet, and here we are. So, Bin, as we know, we already went over, don't need to go over that again. Very symmetrical bikini look overall, not overdone. Looking over here at Heather, this is where, again, we get to see just how much muscle density. She has very big shoulders here, a lot of shoulder fullness, even into the rear delt, tapers in. Lower body might be symmetrical here, but she has a lot of muscle, and I think that that's just the main factor for her. Too much muscle for the first place in this bikini pro event. Looking over here, Yi, a little bit of a different look, where she's probably the leanest athlete. Her glutes don't appear to have that 3D effect though, where we're not getting a lot of that upper glute, overall glute development here. And that can be, again, when you get super lean, you start to deplete out glutes a bit and things like that. So that may be a factor here for her. It's hard to say 100%, but overall, that's, probably where this division is heading. It seems to be, again, all about the shape, all about those proportions, all about really locking that in and bringing that through, and we continue to see that play out. So really strong, consistent look coming out of this event here, the China DMS, and that's very exciting. So let me know what you want me to cover next. I'm pulling shows, I'm running shows, I'm doing all of them for you anytime. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Coach Ryan is out.